The War of Caernarvon Crescent.
One day whilst I sat on the toilet taking my morning dump, it had dawned on me that I'd only ever acted out of retaliation towards the old crone. Absolutely everything I did was a reaction, and some might go as far as saying that some of my responses towards the old hunchback were, for argument's sake, over the top. I squeezed hard as the splashback hit my arse, and I decided to go on the offensive for a change. I would need to do something that the crane couldn't really prove it was me, but I also wanted her to know that it was me that got her. What could I do? There's another splashback as more shit slammed into the water. Could it be sabotage? No, I thought. No. It couldn't be that, because if she were to be hurt, or heaven forbid, had a stroke or a heart attack, I'm sure I would sure as hell get the blame. Should I give her a major public conting? As much as I loved that idea, I didn't want to lose any of my allies in the street. I would need to do something funny, and it would have to make everyone laugh, but it would have to be something that people couldn't prove. I reached for the bug and wiped my arse. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a copy of the Yellow Pages on my toilet magazine book rack. Yes, I said loud and proud to myself. This is the solution. I washed my hands and then flushed the chain. I picked up the Yellow Pages, and on the back cover was an advert for AGK advertising that, if you're lonely, we are always here for you. I grinned and replaced the Yellow Pages to the rack. I went downstairs and into the kitchen and dug out an old mobile phone. I placed it on charge and began to chuckle to myself. I picked up my keys and placed them in my pocket. Agamemnon heard the sound of jangling keys and darted out towards me. I gave Agamemnon a pat on the head. "You want to come, you little shit?" I said to the excited mutt. With a wag of his stumpy tail, I picked up his harness and lead and connected it up. When I exited the house, I shouted up to Ellie if she wanted anything, but there was no reply. She must still be asleep with Aurora. I picked up some pee bags, shoved them in my pocket and went outside. Within 15 minutes I found myself outside the corner shop. I tied Agamemnon to a lamppost. Not that he needed it. He would stand guard without his leash until I returned, but just in case some prick got too close, he wouldn't chase him down. I walked into the shop and went straight up to the counter. "Hello," said the shopkeeper. "You right there, mate?" I replied. "Do you have any PagerGo SIM cards for sale?" The shopkeeper reached under the counter and pulled out a plastic box and placed a Vodafone SIM package on the counter, followed by an EE SIM card package, followed by an O2 SIM card. "Which one had the best internet package?" I asked. "They're all pretty much the same," said the shopkeeper. "Okay," I said. "Give me the EE card and a tenner of credit, please." "That'd be £15, please," said the shopkeeper. I handed the man the money and walked out of the shop. Agamemnon was waiting patiently for me, though he was having a look of his balls. "That's gross, you fucking mutt," I said to him as I untied him from the lamppost. We walked back home via the field and along the river. I might as well give him a proper walk whilst we're at it. As soon as we were in the field, I unleashed Agamemnon and he darted around in an overexcited way. He had the occasional stop and sniff at random bushes and then spray his marking and carry on with his darting around. We had left the field and walked along the river's towpath. Like normal, Agamemnon would dart away from the path and into the river to have a splash about, and then even a quick drink. I continued my walk along the path and did the occasional whistle, so Agamemnon would dart up to me out of nowhere. As soon as he caught up, he would jump on me as per normal. I walked around the corner. Agamemnon darted back into the river. At the end of the corner, Hagatha and her two crony allies were walking towards me. I just had that feeling that I was going to have an argument. It was ominous. 3 old women and an old man. On one hand, I really couldn't be bothered with an argument, but on the other hand, it could be very interesting to see what lies the old crone had said about me. I pulled out a cigarette and lit it. It was going to be a moment that I needed a boost of nicotine. As I approached the wrinkly old mob of the haggard, I did my whistle for Agamemnon to come. It was time to put him back on his leash before we were in slanging distance. On command, Agamemnon darted up to me out of nowhere, and this startled the head crone. As I clipped the leash into Agamemnon's harness, The head crane pointed a stick towards the two of us. Without a prompt from me, Agamemnon went into full guard mode. His infamous Doberman Pinscher ear stood to attention. He stood broad-shouldered, showed his teeth, and growled like a motherfucker towards the head crane. "Keep your dog under control," snapped one of Hagatha's allies. "Tell her to put that fucking stick down," I snapped back. "He thinks she's going to attack him again." "What do you mean again?" snapped the physically shaken head crane. "Are you shitting me?" I snapped. "You fucking egged him along with my nephew." "No, I didn't," snapped Hagatha. "Not to mention drugging him, as well as flinging a dough steak into my garden," I snapped. Agamemnon continued his snarling and started to lunge towards the old hag. With all my strength, I managed to hold him back. "What?" said the rest of our wrinkly gang. "She didn't tell you?" I pointed my finger towards the bitch. "That nasty woman egged my nephew and my dog and my property during my daughter's birthday party. She was also arrested and charged and then convicted with assault, animal cruelty and criminal damage." I turned back and looked directly at the witch. "Go on, tell them what your sentence was, or do you want me to tell them?" The crone said nothing. She still had the stick pointing towards Agamemnon, who was now barking along with his snarling. I had to put him back on his leash a couple of times. She was given a 2-year suspended sentence, a £500 fine, in order to pay costs. And I can prove it. I've got a photo of the newspaper report on my phone. The old man stepped forward towards me. "Okay, no worries. How about we just walk around over there and you walk towards the river and we could just walk away," he said, trying to calm the situation. "Oh, I'm up for that," I said. "Trust me, Agamemnon will stand down if she stops threatening him. If she stops threatening him with that stick, tell her to put down, and I promise he will stand down." "Please put the stick down," the man said to Hagatha. And she did. Agamemnon's ears lowered and he stopped snarling. "We're going to walk over here, and like you asked, and you're going to walk over there. If you want to look at the article, I could show you right now," I said. The man said, "Sorry, don't worry. I didn't need to." I guess he had read the article, but just said nothing for a quiet life. The gang of cranes walked in their direction, and Agamemnon and I walked our way. This only gave me more fuel for the fire. I was so fucking pissed off. That bitch had made out that my dog was a feral beast, and that pissed me right off. I couldn't wait till I got home. Once the old phone was charged and installed with that new SIM card, Hagatha would pay for what she had done. Yet again, I was beaten to the punch, and it would be another reactionary piece. As soon as I got home, I unharnessed Agamemnon and opened the back door. He returned to his previous spot and began looking into Hagatha's back room. Every time she went to go to her garden, he began to growl and occasionally bark. If the door actually opened, she refused to come out, and I guess Agamemnon hates the old hag more than I do. But it's her own fault. What possessed her to start an Agamemnon again? What would have happened had I not called him back and clipped his leash on? He probably would have jumped on her and mauled the old bag to her grave. And what then? Agamemnon would be on a one-way trip to the vets. It made me so fucking mad. I walked over to the old phone and it was now fully charged. I switched it on and done a factory reset, blanking all the memory so I can start it again as my burner phone. I placed the SIM card inside, downloaded a VPN setting the phone's location to Brazil and master phone's IP address. Within minutes, I had registered the phone in Hagatha's name and paired it to her address. A few more minutes later, I set up a burner email in her name. I even went as far as setting up a fake book account for her. What started out today as a bit of fun turned out to be a full-blown revenge, for if things went her way, Agamemnon would have paid the price. It was at this point I knew that I was about to cross a serious line, but I really didn't give a shit. Not anymore. The way I saw it, she really needed to learn some respect, and for her, she had none. Lie after lie spewed out of her gangly trap about my family to anyone that was unfortunately in her line of sight. The constant tarnishing of my family's name and reputation on the street was always in question, so now it was time for her to take a dose of her own medicine. I logged into her fake book account and began to sign her up to any and every local community pages I could find. These included the local schools, the Women's Institute, the Salvation Army, the library, and even a crochet class. When she was now associated with these pages, the odd friend requests started to appear, and I gracefully accepted them. I then started to sign her up to all local political pages of all far-right flavours, not to mention a few recently proscribed organisations for good measures. Well, after all, she had to look like a bit of a Nazi, so why wouldn't she be associated with them? I kept the fake book page constantly logged in, but exited the app. It was now time for a bit of research. With her toxic attitude, I assumed that it was because she felt a little bit lonely and isolated, so I decided that she needed some home visits. I booked a few home appointments via email from various local funeral directors so she could discuss various different funeral plans with her. I booked a visit from the local Communist Party, not to mention a home visit from Antifa, with the hope that she would learn what it is she is, a crone with fascist tendencies. I paused for a while. Yeah. I wondered if she paid attention to divinity lessons all those years ago in school, so I booked her in to a visit from the local Jehovah's Witnesses, the local born-again Christian cult, and even a visit from the local imam. With this, I thought she would be spoiled for choice to ponder over which version of heaven she may end up in, or even hell, as it is very likely she would just slam the door in all their faces. Once all her appointments were logged in, I then set calendar reminders on the burner phone so I knew when these people would turn up. I moved into the living room and repositioned my front garden cameras so they covered the garden path as well as her front door. Now all I needed to do was to start recording half hour before each visitor was due and sit down with a beer and enjoy the fireworks.
Thank you for listening to the War of Caernarvon Crescent. If you've enjoyed this production from SFX Media, why not check out more content by clicking the link in the description below. Until next time, soldier.